Now that we're making a name for ourselves, for a second time, we should be mindful of our reputation. Everyone is on a razor's edge out here, and bad rumors can spread faster than the infection itself.
At long last, we have finally arrived. The scanning may commence. Let me get my magnetic altering dingle arm connected to the perforated relay lattes. Wait for it. Wait. And we should be able to hack into their database now.
Uploading to database. Injecting worm. Searching for keyword infection. Licking, licking, licking. Tastes bad. 101 matches found. Narrowing. Narrowing. Analyzing. This thing on my neck is about to rupture. Next. If you cook it long enough, it might be safe. Next. This is what you get for opening every piece of email. Next. Anomalous spaceborne biological replication found at the following coordinates.
There, that one. That sounds like a sticky. Let's plot it in and get over there.
Look, Ilsa, I'm not trying to step on your toes here, but this is a pretty weak lead. We haven't seen any infected in over 2 years now. There's nothing out there. We beat this thing.
It's my responsibility to make sure. A clean sweep is the only way, and that takes time. I've patiently humored you while you polished your pistol, but it's time to follow my orders for once. If you don't like it, you can let yourself out at the next rock.
I hope we find something positively juicy. Analyzing these typical corporeal life forms bores me to a coma. I think I'm going to sterilize my scalpels and rectal speculas.
Game saved.
I'm gonna wear your skin like a suit.
Can I touch your hair?
Battle wagon mode activated.
I'm gonna wear your skin like a suit.
Can I touch your hair?
Game saved. Resource acquired.
How can I be of assistance? Have my gratitude.
Battle wagon mode activated. Game saved.
We're not accepting. I can tap you for dinner.
Battle wagon mode activated. Target locked. Oblivion. Shields online.
Behold, the power of science. It is only a matter of time before I can computerize the entire crew, invalidating the need for pointless chatter such as this.
Game saved.
Mother Nature is a cruel and merciless meat grinder, and the infinite void does not differ. Unless you want someone drinking their Hefeweizen out of your skull, you should leave your fluffy comfort zone and learn as much about this horrific existence as possible. I have prepared a series of extracurricular activities I demand you complete with haste. If the gift of knowledge, experience, and adaptability are not enough for you, there will also be candy.
Exhausted.
I'm gonna drink the marrow from your bones!
Battle wagon mode activated. Target locked. Obliterating. Engaging. Target locked. Obliterating. Target locked. Obliterating. Engaging. Engaging. Game saved. Battle wagon mode activated.
We may have a galaxy-wide shortage of res, but we certainly don't have a shortage of poor saps combing the void looking for more. All the potent res field.
Signal detected. Extracted. Battle wagon mode activated. Some now believe that without the Dark Entity, life will run rampant across the cosmos like locusts, or that the universe will fling itself apart, a few believe the dark entity is eternally present and cannot simply be extinguished. Evidence suggests that the dark entity is much older than the galaxy itself. If such a creature can survive the chaos of the Big Bang, it is reasonable to assume that a fledgling race like humankind would not be able to harm it. Its destruction may have been an integral part of its reoccurring cycle, or another chapter of the entity's self-evolution. Awareness expanded. Elsa was born and raised on Earth, which happened to be one of the last worlds to come under UTA control during the lockdown wars. Her and her father were recruited by the UTA to mine the Sol system for what little res it had. When her father died, she became aimless and resentful. Eventually, she was befriended by Don Gibson, the leader of the growing UTA resistance. Saving her from eventual starvation, she was fiercely loyal to Don and became second in command of the renegade fleet. Despite her troubled past, she had always managed to stay lighthearted and governed by strong morals. She was devastated to discover Don had been under the influence by the infection. Enraged, she took control of the Clockwork and crew to hunt down Don and destroy the Dark Entity. Having eventually satisfied that goal, she has now grown cold and nearly unrecognizable by her fellow crewmates. Driven aimlessly by guilt, she commands the surviving crew of the Clockwork on an endless mission to cleanse the last of the infection. Map updated. Awareness expanded. Without the warp gates, interstellar travel was not possible. Along with the discovery of new habitable worlds, several new elements were added to the periodic table. One of these was element 126, the element now known as Res. As warp gate travel became commonplace, a massive number of gate builder ships were deployed. Over a millennium, a galactic warp gate network was established, and gate travel was an everyday occurrence. Signal detected.
I'm gonna wear your skin. I'm gonna drink the marrow from your bones!
Battle wagon mode activated. is out sick today. This unit will now distribute the quota of condescending and hurtful remarks. Your mother's mass is greater or equal to the average mass of a red giant. Ha, ha, ha.
Pillaging successful. Awareness expanded.
The Sun Hunters originally began as a nomadic bounty hunters guild during the Dark Infection. When the warp gates fell, so did the feasibility of tracking targets across the galaxy for credits. They slowly congregated together in a small corner of the galaxy to form the Sun Hunters. In hopes of warding off attacks from other factions, they maintained the fierce imagery of their predecessors' ships and starbases.
I'd love to have you for dinner. We're not accepting new applicants at this time.
Battle wagon mode activated.
Eat your brains!
Game saved. Resource acquired.
Map updated. Area exhausted. Signal detected. Scanning area.
Yeah, man, come on in. Let me get your help. Thanks, you're the best. You really are, yeah.
Battle wagon mode activated.
need your in space. Only I can hear you scream.
Battle wagon mode activated. Target locked. Obliterated. Engaging. Position. Holding.
I decided to let a chimp from the lab select the last few data allocations instead of you. We have reached the scientific limit of banana peeling and fecal bombardment technology. We shall now resume normal allocation procedure.
Game saved. Awareness expanded. The Clockwork was a massive mothership, originally conceived by Don Gibson to defy the lockdown wars. It served as home for thousands of desperate people, as it made its long journey to the galactic core. When Don eventually betrayed the crew to the Dark Entity, Don, the Entity, and the Clockwork itself became fused into a single mass. The surviving crew spent nearly 5 years rebuilding a new Clockwork, which was later used to destroy the original ship harboring the Dark Entity. The Clockwork, too, was unfortunately short-lived. Shortly after the collapse of the Gate Network, the UTA confiscated the ship, seeing it as theirs, given it was constructed mostly of UTA wreckage. It was later dismantled for scrap. Signal detected.
I'm gonna wear your skin. I'm gonna drink the marrow from your bones!
Battle wagon mode activated.
successful. Awareness expanded. Scanning area.
We're not accepting new applicants at the in space. Only I can hear you scream.
Battle wagon mode activated. Shields offline.
Alert! The mothership is in danger of running out of a critical resource. Rectify this immediately, or Happy Hour will be cancelled.
I'm gonna beat this. I'm gonna drink the marrow from your bones!
Battle wagon mode activated. Engaging.
I have overheard a few crew members referring to these scientific breakthroughs as level-ups. I believe there is already a level-up bench in the exercise room. Please desist from spreading confusion and refer to the data allocations as techno-recalibrated deltoid enhancements.
Game saved. Cargo acquired.
In theory, you can bend wavelengths of light to create an effective cloaking field. This theory is utterly moronic. In practice, I have devised a method to instead bend darkness. How can I be the only one that has come to this determination?
Mindlessly throwing a fistful of hot metal at our opponents will only get us so far. Maybe if we take our time and call our shots, we can make the most of our bullets and photons. Our enemies sure won't shy away from kicking us in our tender spots. Sure, it's nice to be desired, but being wanted dead or alive isn't exactly what I had in mind. Infuriating folks with money can be a health hazard. They won't think twice about parting with their stacks in exchange for our severed heads. Now, of course, this is a door that can swing both ways. If we need a job done and have the funds to afford it, we can tag someone else with a bounty. You'd be surprised what folks will do for a little scrap.
Map updated.
Res, or resin, is slang for element 126, which was discovered during the colonization of the Alpha Centauri system. It phases in and out of the space-time continuum, making it difficult to detect. Its discovery accounted for the missing gravitational forces we previously dismissed as dark matter. Res tends to drift through solid matter, randomly coming into phase and adhering to corporeal particles. It's only during this state modern technology can observe its effects.
Awareness expanded.
When the outbreak first began, few took it seriously. Rumors of ships covered in twisted flesh and wire grew more distorted as they passed from one storyteller to another. The UTA, being preoccupied with the lockdown wars, ignored reports of yet another pandemic. By the time it was serious enough to warrant attention, quarantine was impossible. With extermination still being a valid option, the UTA began reinforcing the warp gates leading to infected regions. Regardless of signs of infection, outgoing ships were simply destroyed from a distance. Within months, the UTA lost nearly 100 trade ships, destroyed by the marshals that guarded the quarantine gates. As the odd ship was able to sneak past, the UTA had to continuously step back its front line. Out of desperation, the entire inner world galactic quadrant was quarantined from the outer worlds through the use of high-security Titan gates. The UTA continued to fight a bloody and secret war with the infection for nearly 200 years. It was not until after the entire confrontation did the outer worlds become aware such a war had even occurred.
Signal detected. Scanning area.
While Don Gibson was born on Earth, he spent the majority of his youth as a slave laborer on the moons of Uranus. Later in life, he was picked up by the UTA and conscripted as a soldier during the early lockdown wars. Following years of UTA service, Don eventually lost the willingness to obey orders. He resigned from the UTA to take up freelance mining work. As the UTA continued to inhibit free mining of res, he turned to smuggling contraband to survive. Obsession with the entity drove him to build the Clockwork ship, in hopes of being reunited with the entity. Don ceaselessly worked on the ship for nearly 200 years, untouched by the effects of age. He owed his perpetual youth to the dark corruption that had poisoned his body and mind. He embraced a life of solitude to conceal his affliction from others, until he undeniably needed help to complete the Clockwork. With the promise of untold wealth at the legendary galactic core, Don built a crew of struggling and hopeful prospectors. Elsa, Carl, and every other res-struck crew member remained blissfully unaware of his real agenda. It wasn't until the Clockwork finally reached the core worlds did his true nature manifest itself to the crew. Don was eventually killed by Elsa Young, along with the dark entity that corrupted him.
Map updated.
John, I want to eat your brains!
Hey, thanks!
Battle wagon mode. Kill, 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 kill.
Game saved. Battle wagon mode activated.
By the endless void in a chicken basket! Look how the infection has replicated itself on inanimate material like that! I am going to disable the ship's weapon system so you, trigger-tickling simpletons, do not obliterate this precious sample opportunity for me.
Carl, I'm going to rip your tin head clean off. Turn the weapons back on this instant, or so help me, I will kill you twice over.
What kind of buffoon do you take me for? These samples are totally dormant, even with all this nearby transport traffic. As much as I despise concurring with Admiral Patches, he does have a point. The Dark Puppeteer has been long since destroyed. There is less than absolute zero risk to the ship. Now please, lay in a course next to the infected asteroid so I can perform a battery of scans.
Fuck me right in the aft. I am so sick and tired of being chronically correct. Carl, weapons, now!
This makes anti-sense. It is reacting to our presence somehow, despite being absent of any neurological activity. A dozen ships have passed through this region. How do we differ? There must be some sort of catalyst for this reaction.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Weapon access code accepted.
Not even an idiot would put that password on his luggage. Thankfully, Carl, you are a rare breed of idiot. Elsa, we are weapons free. Transferring power, acquiring targets now.
I want everything within a parsec of here to be rendered to dust. Destroy anything that moves. Use the ship itself if you have to. Carl, do you even have the slightest clue of the privilege I have bestowed upon you, allowing you to exist aboard my ship, under my order? If only I didn't need someone that knew anything about the infection. Oh, what is the point? I guess this is all my fault for letting you off the leash. You know, I really was starting to think we were finally past all this apocalyptic insanity. Why now, after years of no contamination? Why here? Why ever so perfectly orchestrated for our arrival? This just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, maybe not the best place to have a conversation. Let's be sure we only make one mistake here today. Helm, take us out of here!
Judging by the expression on your faces, it would appear I'm about to be the recipient of some violence. It should be noted, however, that this may all be an emotional overreaction to a threat now nullified by the ship's ordnance. That may very well have been the last we see of the infection. It is expected we would find some lingering residue eventually.
Residue? So what now? Just forget it all happened? Sure, I was wrong, thinking the infection was over with, but now we know otherwise. That fault is on me, my bad, but are we supposed to forget that you castrated the ship to satisfy your own interest? Carl, you have an admiration for this filth, and I'd say the thing feels the same way about you. Why else did it react the way it did? For all we know, you've been corrupted already. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You are a liability, and you are gonna get us all killed.
That's enough. Ambient babysitting is one thing, but I won't have you all disemboweling each other at a time like this. Get along. That's an order. Carl, you have your samples. I want to know what we're dealing with. Find me some answers. Jameson, I need you to start prepping the mothership for war.
If it took us this long to find an infection candidate, how long do you think it'll take us to find the next one? We just don't have the manpower to scrub the galaxy clean of infection. Elsa, if we really want to make some progress, we need some allies we can delegate to.
Great. I know where this is going. I was hoping we could steer clear of this childish faction feud. One UTA was bad enough. Now we have half a dozen sides to this bloody war, not including our sticky problem.
I'm not one to get involved in politics either, but our backs are up against the hull. We're gonna have to pick a side and play nice for the time being. Weeb hacking for leads is no way to fight a war.
Game saved.